so one more day of building the fastest Cyber Apache, and this time we are in a little different environment, as you can see. So this is another motor cave which is in progress. So what we are trying to do very shortly, very quickly, is that we are trying to make a custom build PC here in India based on a motorcycle. So basically it will be in the shape of this motorcycle. Now we have already published 2 episodes before this. So the first one was introducing you to the components that we are going to use. The second one was where we introduced you to the method of creating, of fabricating the whole build itself. Now in this episode, the third one, we are going to show you how we are actually going to build the PC and the components, how they come together so they can give birth to the heart, to the life force, to the Gaia of the fastest Cyber Apache. Now we are calling it Apache because this motorcycle right here, if you're not a motorcyclist, is actually the Apache RR310 from TVS. We thought that we should actually use this motorcycle because it looks beautiful, and it will obviously look beautiful once it is made into a desktop as well. In the next episode, which is episode 4, you will get to see the whole build getting into the fabricated desktop. So anyway, that's just the background of what we are doing. Now I want to call a gentleman here who goes by the name of KSB, and he's going to get the first component. Karan Singh Bansata, welcome to the show once more. And
well, that's a grand welcome. Here we have with us the ASUS TUF GT 501. Now it's a complete case at the moment. The PC that we're building, it's going to be different. So the outside shell is being built somewhere else. But today, for a test drive of the components and in order to figure out how much of performance we can expect from it, we are going to be building inside this.
So here we've got the case, and of course, KSB, this is all glass see-through.
Yes.
Because there is going to be a lot of RGB, right?
A lot of RGB and a lot of beautiful components that you would want to look at all the time.
So for example, guys, this is a 6 feet plus Iron Man here. This is the first thing to be installed in the new motor cave, and this whole environment will be transformed in the months to come. So do keep an eye on my channel, Motographer Official on YouTube, or Instagram is the Motographer. So you will get to see as this whole thing, place comes alive. So now let us quickly get all the components one by one.
Our motherboard, the ASUS ROG Strix X570 E Gaming.
This is a liquid cooler ROG Strix LC2360 ARGB.
Our power supply unit, ASUS ROG Thor 1200 watt Platinum.
The big daddy, the GeForce RTX 3080 Ti from ROG Strix Gaming.
Storage device, MB-X570 from XPG, 2 terabytes.
64 gigs of RAM from G-Skill. This is a Trident Z Neo.
Processor for this build, the AMD Ryzen 5950X.
The ROG Gladius 3 mouse and the ROG Strix scope TKL. And these are some of the best out there.
Yes. So now we are going to start the build process, and the first order of business is to get our motherboard out of the box, install the processor, the RAM and the SSD, because all of that stuff can be done out of the box. So we are going to start with that. Now that we've got our motherboard out of the box and ready for installation, we are going to move ahead, and this is going to be our processor, the AMD Ryzen 9 5950X. So now we are going to install the processor on our motherboard. Here we've got it right here. Now the simple thing that you have to keep in mind is that the processor has a golden arrow, a notch of sorts, pointing, and it should be pointing towards the direction of the notch on your motherboard's processor slot. So now we are just going to place it, and you have to be really careful so as to not bend the pins. For the RAM, we've got the Trident Z Neo from G-Skill. We have 4 sticks of 16 gigabytes each for a total of 64 GBs, and the RAM is rated at a speed of 3600 megahertz. Now it is time to install the final component that we'll be installing with the motherboard out of the case, and that will be our SSD. Now in order to install our SSD, we are going to have to remove the heatsink that comes with the motherboard. Now I told you that we have to completely remove one of the heatsinks, the default ones that comes with the motherboard, and that is for this reason. The SSD that we've got, the MB-X570 from XPG, it comes with its own heatsink. Because of the heatsink, it is not able to clear, obviously the default heatsink of the motherboard was to be removed, but this extra covering right here, this also needs to be removed because this is interfering with our SSD. Now we may figure something out later down the line, maybe remove everything and install 2 similar SSDs in the 2 slots that we have, or maybe mod this a little, like cut away a piece of it so that this fits. For now, we are going to remove it and install our SSD. The bare chipset fan may upset a few people, but to be honest, it looks quite good like this as well because the heatsink is exposed and the fan is exposed, and it gives it more of an industrial look. Now that we've got all the components installed on the motherboard that we needed, including the processor, the RAM, the SSD, it is time to ready our case to install the cooler and the motherboard, and the graphics card comes last. I have to remove the 2 side panels, and on the left side we have the tempered glass window. Now that we've got the front panel removed, you can see that we have spaces for 3 120 or 140 mm fans. Now this case by default comes with 3 120 mm fans in the front, but I have removed and relocated them to the top as exhaust fans because in the front we are going to install the radiator. Radiator in the front may not be ideal, and many of you may argue that it is not, but in our actual build, the actual Cyber Apache build that we are going to do, the radiator is going to be in the front, and that is why we are going to keep it in the front for this test run as well. Now, so let's remove the top cover, which also removes the I/O as well. We are going to move forward with the removal of the PSU shroud because we are going to need to do that in order to install the PSU and also to facilitate the installation of other components. And that is our PSU shroud removed. Now we are ready to install our radiator. This is our pump and cold plate combo. So this is what is going to go on the processor, transfer the heat, and it is going to be cooled by the radiator and by the liquid. So it was slightly tricky, but we've got the fans and the radiator mounted in the front. Now we just have to tighten the screws and we'll be good to go. So we'll start with the bottom fan, and we are trying to keep the radiator as in its topmost possible position so as to keep some part of the loop above the pump, which is going to alleviate the issues with the formation of bubbles or air getting trapped in the pump and hurting it in the long run. So we have installed the radiator and the fans in the front of the chassis. Now it is time to get the motherboard ready for the installation of the cooler. For that, Ryzen on X570 motherboards, you already get this backplate, and this is the one that will be used. The only thing that needs to be removed are these little tabs which are used for the installation of the default AMD cooler. Now in space of those tabs, we are going to install these spacers or risers that are supplied with the LC2 360 RGB liquid cooler that we have. These are the spacers or the mounts for the actual pump and cold plate to replace the plate that we have on the pump right now with this, and it's done. So now we have everything ready, and now we are going to place the motherboard inside the case and then attach the cold plate, the pump, to the motherboard as well. Now we are reaching the final phases of building our PC inside this case, and it is time to install our power supply unit, ASUS ROG Thor 1200 watts platinum, and this is our chonky boy, the PSU that we are going to use in our build. we are going to plug in all the cables and we are going to start from the PSU. The first thing that we are going to plug in is the CPU EPS power connector. We also got pre-sleeved cables, so that also looks really clean. Now we have everything installed in the case. The liquid cooler, the processor, RAM, SSD, PSU, everything is ready. The only thing that remains now is this, the big boy, the RTX 3080 Ti. Here are the 3 PCI connectors that I told you about, and now we are going to connect the cables from the PSU to power this beast of a graphics card.
So, KSB, we've been working at it for I think a couple of hours or more, and now the movement of truth. The main switch is on, and there is a switch here which KSB has told me to flip, and then there is this switch that I have to hit, and then magic.
That is it. First we hit this one, then it lights up, and then we hit the power button and the fan starts spinning.
Magic. And I'm going to do this. Step 1. All right, I can see a little bit of RGB going on there, and this is the main thing. Whoa!
And it works.
All right! So one of the most beautiful things about this case, the tough case, is that one side is completely glass. All right, now that we have got this up and running, we need to connect it to a monitor, but not just any display or monitor. Wait for it. Guys, so I have placed the rig, and this is the setup as you see here. So we are talking about 120 inches real estate space, and here is the rig that we had built. So first of all, this is not a TV, this is actually a projector. So if you try to figure out where the projector is over there, it's not on the ceiling, it is actually here. So this one is the BenQ V6000 laser projector. So here is where the light is actually coming from, and this is quite stupendous because it is projecting 120 inches from a distance of around 12 inches or something like that. This is absolutely amazing. And here what other things that you see is that we have also connected the mouse and the ASUS ROG keyboard here. And now it's time to actually run some tests. So this is the Moto launch, that is what we call this area, and it is still under progress. And one of the tests that we wanted to run is the Cinebench. This test is running, as you can see, it's almost done, and I have sort of an inkling that it will come till here, the number of points. And we are almost done. AMD Ryzen 9 5950X 16 core processor. So we have 25,000 points here, and which puts this second to only AMD Ryzen Threadripper, and which is, I think, quite fast. Now, there is one thing I want to tell you. This is actually a screen. You can see this is a screen. So this is an ALR screen, which is ambient light rejection screen, which means that it will reflect the light from this angle and it will reject most of the light. I mean, it will try to from other angles. So that's why this will feel like more close to a TV television. And of course, when this whole thing is switched off, you get that black mirror also, which is a term given to the digital devices, you know, the screen when they are switched off. So they had to have this little reflection on them. So that is the whole thing about the setup. Now, another thing that we can run here is, of course, we can do a time spy score, and we already did that because it takes some time, and we got some amazing results also. So this is the score that we got over there for the time spy. Now, actually, let me quickly play a game. So again, for that, and look at this keyboard. This is beautiful. I mean, it's called mechanical keys, RGB, and it is very solid to hold. So I have also attached this wireless basic keyboard and mouse duo. So we are just going to quickly play, and I've got this one more thing here. So this is a basic controller, gaming controller. I'm going to connect this to the dongle which is already there, and we are going to play a little game. And what better than, well, Forza. Let's play Forza Horizon 4, although Horizon 5 has just been launched. So I mean, this is after many years. I mean, many years. I think maybe around 16, 17 years I'm playing on a desktop. This is awesome. All right. So about that, now this is the area where we will be actually just discussing stuff. So there are two tables here, and working and brainstorming on things on xBhp. So I'm also making a dedicated theater and gaming room, which will also have a separate projector that will be a BenQ 4K gaming projector with amazing sync, I mean the fresh rates. So that's it, guys. This rig that you see here is basically the heart of the Cyber Apache that we are going to build. Now that it has been actually built and it's ready for deployment, as they say, the next step is to obviously put it and see everything how it comes together. Right now, parallelly, the mold and everything is getting finalized. So I hope that everything comes together really well the way we had envisaged initially. See you in the next episode, where we probably will be showing you how it looks when the heart goes inside the body of the Cyber Apache.